Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast, the number one source for news, analysis, and discussion on the Detroit Red Wings, the NHL, and all things hockey. Here are your hosts, Ryan Hanna, Brad Crisco, and Evan Lopsinger.
Brad, I want you to tell the listeners and the viewers what you turned around and said to me before the puck dropped yesterday at the Nashville game. I'm not even going to give you any more context than that because we're both thinking the same thing right now.
Are you ready for the Red Wings to make this guy look like a Vezina candidate? That one?
Oh, was it a Nashville goalie stat?
Justus Annunen did not have a win this year. His save percentage would have made John Gibson look like John Gibson 10 years ago. Was having an atrocious season. And Brad just Brad didn't even say anything at first. He just turned around and just gave me this like knowing smile, like painful smile. Like we all knew what was going to happen.
Bet the under. Well, the Red Wings goal scored under.
They scored on him too. It wasn't even the problem, but that like the Jersey game was, one of those losses where you're like, yeah, I'm happy with that. As much as you can be with a loss. Like it was a good performance. You run that game back, 10 more times, they'll win probably 8 of them. That Nashville game was like, wow, there are a lot of bad hockey players on this professional hockey team still. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Saw a lot of turkeys last night.
God. Hey, the gravy boats are sweet.
Yes.
Goes to show how out of sorts we are right now. We didn't even put one on this set. We'll grab one at the break and put it on there. All right, let's do it. Folks, welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast, here to talk to you about all things Detroit Red Wings hockey, the world of the NHL, and lots more. I'm one of your hosts on this Thanksgiving episode, Ryan Hanna.
No, I'm Brad Crisco.
And I'm Evan.
This episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast is brought to you by Greenlight Lending. If you currently own a home and need to save on the monthly payment, or if you're considering buying a home and don't know where to start, reach out to our friend of the podcast and fellow listener, Nick with Greenlight Lending. They offer no closing cost options and a range of unique products to help you in any situation. NMLS 2676683, an equal housing opportunity lender, licensed in Michigan and Virginia. Give Nick a call at 586-321-1888. On this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast, oh man, it explains itself. We're going to be talking about the Jersey game. We're going to be talking about the Nashville game. We're going to be talking about what the hell is wrong with the Red Wings right now. And then we'll be getting into some other stuff from around the league. I think we're going to be leaning more into that Quinn Hughes conversation, some conversation about Todd McLellan's comments. It's going to be a little bit more of a free-flowing episode. I'm not going to lie to you, the notes aren't so fleshed out because everything's just kind of
emotional,
Yeah.
Just going to let it go.
When Evan is calling an episode emotional, you're either in for a 5-star or we're deleting this podcast from our phones episode.
Just wait until it's Festivus and we can do airing of grievances.
We do that most of the year.
7-hour episode.
Yeah, we do that. It's called the Winged Wheel Podcast.
Well, I'm going to start doing it.
Oh, famously positive Evan Lopsinger.
I just watched the Red Wings give up 5 goals in a period to the Nashville Predators.
Oh my God.
We're a corpse of a franchise.
Justus Annunen. Raise your hand if you knew Justus Annunen was on the Nashville Predators. You are lying. All right, before we get into it, very quickly, patreon.com/wingedwheelpodcast. If you want to support the show, you get access to benefits like our bonus overtime episodes, which record right after these main ones. We let loose, we have fun. You get an even more animated Evan Lobsinger. You also get access to our Patreon exclusive Discord, and you're automatically entered into all of our giveaways. We give away 2 tickets to every Detroit Red Wings home game directly to our Patreon supporters. Yesterday was one of the games we do where we bring some of our longest standing top contributing patrons to a Detroit Red Wings game to hang out in a kind of smaller group with us, the hosts, and we're going to have more information on that as well. We got some footage and stuff to show off what we offer for patrons as our way of saying thanks. So again, patreon.com/wingedwheelpodcast. All right, let's start with a little bit of positive, if you can say that. We're still talking about a loss, but the New Jersey Devils game was an interesting game for the Red Wings. 4-3 loss in the end. I think they were the better team. And let's just get ahead of it here. There's 3 things that I think did Detroit in. Travis Hamonic had his worst game since the home opener. Jacob Markstrom played like Jacob Markstrom in a contract year.
Yeah, he played like Justus Annunen.
He did really
Prime.
He's in his prime right now. And then third, but in retrospect, after looking at the whole balance of the game, this is a third place for me, is I think some critical calls were missed by the refs, although they were pretty bad all over the ice. But all in all, I mean, the Red Wings have to walk away, most of them feeling pretty okay with their effort that game.
I'm well past the point of moral victories because that was...
Brad. Oh, Brad.
I know.
You're going to have a long year.
Yes. If you have to claim one, this is a game where you can claim one. I like their fight. I like their snarl. I like their effort. Execution could have been better, but as we'll talk about with the Nashville game, with certain players on the ice, there's only so much you can do. So as long as the effort and, the bite is good, you can get by. And in that game, it was to an extent. Only so much you can do when Travis Hamonic's on the ice. Yeah, again, I think you summed it up right. The refs sucked. Markstrom was good. 2 horrific giveaways, and other than that, the Red Wings comfortably should have walked away with that game.
We should talk about the physicality of the game. JT Compher opens the game with a pretty cut and dry boarding against Nico Hischier. Nico Hischier seems banged up. You look at the replay. Initially, I think the radio commentary, there's some commentary that was like, oh, this could be a major. And then you saw the replay. You're like, no, that's, just a boarding call. It is what it is. New Jersey was justifiably pissed, the same way I would want the Red Wings to be pissed if that happened against Larkin right off the hop. Compher went to the box. Red Wings killed the penalty. He came out of the box, had a breakaway opportunity, didn't score, and immediately answered the bell. Stefan Noesen, wanted the fight. The refs were trying to break it up. You could see JT Compher saying, like, no, let him go. And the ref gave him a little tap to say, good on you. And they let him go a long time. JT Compher answered the bell. That's the hockey code. If you want to know what the hockey code is, exactly how that played out. A guy did something that the team felt was borderline. It wasn't a clean hit. He got penalized, but they still wanted their pound of flesh. Compher had to immediately go back to the box for a 5-minute fighting major. If it was his choice, he wouldn't have done it, but he knew what he had to do. He knew the moment he was going to the box that when he was out, he was going to have to scrap. That's what happened. In my mind, that is a settled matter. I'm not saying New Jersey has to, send him flowers and be thrilled with him after, but that's where you think the cheap shots and things would end. And the game was like chippy after that, but I don't think it was over the line for a good while. Like, scrums in front and things like that. After one of the goals, it was, who was it? Larkin and Finnie both shoved Devils players because they were just hanging around there. And it was just like friendly little shoves. And it was a good hockey game. Mickey Redmond was smiling watching that game. He was. And then there was the Jonas Siegenthaler, just like blindside interference. Puck was nowhere near either of them on Lucas Raymond, skating, slowly through the neutral zone and then just like cuts in and levels Raymond, shakes him up. If you've ever taken a hit like that, it's not just about the strength of the hit, which, Siegenthaler was intentionally rage baiting in his media after the game. It's if you're not braced for that,
those ones hurt. Yeah,
they hurt. The wind gets knocked out of you. Your bell's rung because you're not really bracing, so your head's rolling all over the place like you're a bobblehead. Like I'm not saying he could have killed him, but they hurt, definitely. And the Red Wings were justifiably pissed. The refs, that was a terrible missed call. God awful. It was only afterwards that I realized why New Jersey was a little bit more mad. Ben Chiarot, who I unironically love Ben Chiarot, man. Like, I saw this and it was one of those, okay, yeah, I understand. There's a scrum and Ben Chiarot, like he was sheathing his sword, pulls his stick all the way out and just like jams it into...
It was like Napoleon after a conquest.
And I was like, what was he getting there? And then you see Simon Nemec skating out of the pile.
Ben Chiarot literally stabbed a man. He's been listening to many of the episodes where I'm like, Chris Pronger had a knife in his pants. He's like, you know what? You can do that? Yeah, that was hilarious.
Confirmed listener to the podcast. He got a $5,000 fine for that one. I'm like, yeah, stands to reason.
Worth.
It was another one of those things. And like, I didn't see it on the broadcast. I don't know if I missed it or whatever. And even the Devils broadcast didn't show it until after the Siegenthaler blindside because they were like, just to explain why this is happening, but people were confused. They thought that happened in the ensuing scrum, but that's a little bit why the Devils were like, that's what you get. And I do think you still don't want to see that blindside hit on Raymond, but I'm like, you understand why the game got to the level it did.
Yeah, you kind of want to blame the refs for it a little bit, because sometimes if a penalty gets called and the team scores on the power play, okay, all is well. We're not that mad anymore. But I think on that one, I think it was going to go how it was going to go after that, no matter the outcome.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think I want someone to run at Siegenthaler next game. Like, I'm sorry, I know this is how these things escalate, but if you're going to go after Lucas Raymond with a blindside like that, instead of, asking Ben Chiarot to answer the bell, that's what should happen next. I think the Red Wings were right to not go after Siegenthaler in that moment. It was late in the game, and they were trying to tie it, and they very nearly did. But, I mean, that was a cheap shot. But when you saw that,
the replay is so funny.
It's hysterical in slow motion. The first frame, you're like, oh my God, I know exactly what he's going to do here.
Yes. You just see Simon Nemec just get absolutely butt-ended or speared, whatever you want to call it. Oh my God.
It's a move right out of Evan's intramural hockey days.
Yes. Yeah, it is, actually.
It's Ben Chiarot's physicality. He has that nasty streak that we've been saying the Red Wings are missing. And it's not like it's brand new this year, but oh my God, even last night, throwing hits all over the place. Some of them clean, some of them definitely dirty. I'm like, good. I'm a big fan of Ben Chiarot's game this year. Is it perfect? No. But if you're expecting perfect from Ben Chiarot, I need you to go outside.
Take a lap.
Yeah, because he is adding the kind of snarl and character and piss and vinegar that this team needs and pisses off the other team. I get that it's going to make some unsavory things happen on the ice, but God, at least there's some fire. So I'm not mad at Ben Chiarot at all. And there's a lot of hypocrisy here, because if anyone pulled that butt end and they got like Simon Edvinsson, I'd be like, oh.
If that was Jamie Benn who did that,
yeah,
this podcast would start a revolution.
100%. Like we're Napoleon after conquest. Detroit doesn't get it done. They can't score to tie it at the end. But again, it was a good effort overall. I'm not mad at that loss. There's things they had to work on. I know McLellan was talking about the net front game and things like that, but in all, it was a much more composed game, and especially on the road too. And you take out the few shining red flags that are shaped like Travis Hamonic and a couple other plays, that's going to be a winning combination more times than not. Now, important to note, Simon Edvinsson didn't play in that game. Still out with a pretty nasty flu or whatever bug is going around the league. And what's unfortunate is he didn't play in the next game either against Nashville. Back at the LCA, it was gravy boat night, and Travis Hamonic in, Gustafsson in, JBD out, Rasmussen out, and it was just, that effort wasn't there. The same kind of composure, the same kind of offensive acuity, the same kind of sense of that this can be a good hockey team was not there at home against Nashville, who is
terrible.
They suck.
They have a culture issue.
Hey, Evan, I have a stat for you.
Oh, God.
Before last night, there was only one team in the league to not score 5 goals yet this season.
Let me guess, did their starting goalie also not have a win?
You would be correct, Evan.
Oh, no. They scored 5 in a period.
Oh, my God.
While losing. Going into a period losing.
Before last night, Evan, 30 of 32 teams had scored 5 goals at least twice. Seattle was the only other one other than Nashville who had done it.
Aren't they just lucky that they get a roll into Detroit and fix what ails them?
I don't know if I've been saying this on the pod or just to you guys off air, but this team painfully plays to the level of their opponents so much. And that's oversimplifying things. Different teams bring different defensive strategies against Detroit. I think jamming up the middle really, baffles this team. Their transition game was honestly vomit-worthy to watch last night, especially like the first 2/3 of the game. Like they could not exit their zone whatsoever. Every single decision they were making was terrible.
Don't worry about zone exits, because when they did get it to the offensive blue line, they couldn't do anything there either.
No. If they did get it over the blue line, they could never hold it either. It just almost always turned around. But that game against Nashville was like, it was terrible. It was not a good performance, and they still should have won it after 2 periods. They were still in position to win because Nashville is one of the worst teams in hockey.
They're horrific to watch.
This is not one of those games where, the Red Wings just got beat. Nashville looked awful that whole game. You can watch that game and go, that's one of the worst teams in the league. They were not good. They were terrible. They were just as in that first period, nothing happened. Neither team did anything of consequence. The LCA was a morgue. God bless the admin people and the in-arena hosts who are trying to get everybody pumped up, but it's hard when nothing happened. I couldn't. I think Finnie got stopped on a 2-on-1. Other than that, I can't remember a single play from that whole period.
Yeah,
and we were in the building, and that was 15 hours ago. The Red Wings, and we've talked about this a lot, game in, game out, their effort is just all over the place. Their attention to detail is all over the place. This team relies so heavily on 4 players. 5, if you want to count Edvinsson, but he wasn't playing last night. I don't think any of the Red Wings' top players last night were sharp. Larkin looked noticeably off, especially in his timing. DeBrincat was pretty good, probably the best of the group. Seider was okay. Raymond didn't really notice him much at all. And as soon as I saw that through the first half of the game, I was, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Because this game is the shining example of the question we get all the time when the Red Wings are playing bad. Is it a systems issue? Is it a line combo issue? Is it the forwards? Is it the defense? It's a lack of good hockey players. Truly. And I
think the answer is a lot simpler.
Yeah.
I know this is a podcast and we have to make it long form, but I think the answer is exceptionally simple. There's just a lot of pedestrians who aren't very good anymore.
Yeah.
Or to begin with.
Travis Hamonic and Erik Gustafsson cannot play in the NHL.
Not in the same game, on the same team. JBD being out of the lineup and having both of them in is a mistake. I'm not saying JBD is the second coming of Cale Makar, but he's got some young legs, and I'll take his mistakes over the things I've witnessed all the time.
We are acutely aware of his flaws and the type of defenseman he is. We get it. He's never going to be a defensive stalwart. He's going to struggle in the cycle defensively. I won't argue any of those things. And if that's what McLellan hates about him and why he's in the doghouse, fine.
I think that's the calculus there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like moving deck chairs in the Titanic.
Yeah, I understand McLellan's thought process. Hamonic and Gustafsson cannot be in this lineup and expect any level of success on a night-to-night basis. Gustafsson, I stopped counting the egregious mistakes and turnovers he made, or even just bad pass. He almost got Axel Sandin-Pellikka killed on the one play. He had 2 outlets open on the left side, and instead of sending it to either one of those guys, he puts it behind the net to Sandin-Pellikka, whose forechecker was already coming at him full speed 10 feet away. So
if that's junior hockey, ASP's dead.
Dead. He's waking up right now. He doesn't even know the game ended yet.
I would kill for that amount of sleep.
Yeah.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah.
I'll play whatever hand you need me to.
Take all those suicide passes.
Travis Hamonic's best play is glassing out, and it doesn't quite make it for an icing. They are bad for the NHL level. And if you are expecting this defense to be any level of good, like it was for a good chunk of the season, the at least lineup of 6 defensemen that have to be trotted out there with what you have is abundantly obvious at this point. Please get better, Simon Edvinsson.
Yeah.
But even at that, we watched the same game. They were a problem. The forwards. Larkin had did they have a single 5-on-5, sustained offensive zone shift last night? Even on the 5-on-3, I don't think they got a shot on net.
Remember that game, 100 years ago, Evan, where we went and watched and they played Boston. It was just like
nothing happened for 60 minutes and we just left.
That's what that offense felt like for so much of that night, where it was just like, I have not seen 3 consecutive passes 5-on-5. On the power play, you got to see them. It was actually nice to see them make like 5 consecutive passes. You're like, oh yeah, you can do that. I forgot that's how hockey can be played.
Last night, even those 5 passes rarely led to a shot on net, but that's a whole
No, but they made it. You know what? I came after 5 passes? 6th pass.
Yeah. And as much as I would love to sit here and rip on Larkin and Raymond, and because they deserve their share of criticism for last night, like it was not one of their better performances, they were not the biggest problems. And they have done enough good this year that, you know, you're allowed an off game every once in a while. It's going to happen. Because, I mean, how many uncharacteristic turnovers did that line have? Like, it was
that one play,
weird.
Larkin turnover, trying to leave the zone in the neutral zone, puck comes back in, Seider gets it, just completely whiffs on the puck, can't leave the zone. You're like, okay, if these two can't leave the zone, this team is cooked tonight. Congratulations, Justus Sandin.
And I want to single so many players out because they were just inexcusably, I don't even want to say bad, because a player can only play to their level of talent. So I don't expect some of these guys to go out there and do what Dylan Larkin does. They can't. They physically don't have it in their toolkit. That's what makes Dylan Larkin. But again, and I know we're beating a dead horse over and over and over again, but I don't know how this is still an issue. They genuinely look like they don't give a shit.
I think
there is no level of effort.
That's the biggest concern for me, or like the biggest point of frustration is you can be bad. There's lots of bad NHL players, but if the effort is there, you can sort of excuse it. Like we've seen a lot of guys come through the Red Wings that are like, this guy's not part of the solution, but at least he worked hard and, you know, put in the effort. Whereas, you know, there's lots of guys in the bottom 6 and, you know, some guys in the top 6 where the effort is just so variable or just non-existent all the time. It's like, how?
You struggled to transition a puck, which we talked about. So the Red Wings, 99 out of 100 times, especially on the bottom 3 lines, by the time they get to the offensive zone blue line, they have no choice but to chip it in. Which is fine. I don't expect, you know, Marco Kasper, Andrew Copp, JT Compher to come in and toe drag a guy and burn a guy and, you know, get into space. Like, fine. But then they would chip it. And the Nashville players wouldn't even be touched by the time they break it out. Like, there's no speed to the puck. There's no battle. Okay, the guy got it off a half sec before you get there. Cool. Hit him. Do anything. You know who's an objectively terrible hockey player, especially watching him last night? Puck on his stick, he has actually got awful. Michael McCarron for Nashville. He sucks. I noticed him a ton.
Yeah, I did too.
Last night. Because he was in every scrum, trying to piss off every Red Wings player. Didn't matter who it was. He was out there. Every forecheck, he was throwing his body around. He was forcing turnovers. Couldn't do anything with him when he got it. But he got it. He was a menace on the forecheck. He was a menace in every scrum.
It's so comically simple. Like, if you just do that, you will find success or carve out a long-ish career in the NHL. But it just feels like so many guys on the Red Wings who have exponentially more talent than him.
Yes.
They just cannot or will not do that.
You get the puck on Marco Kasper, Andrew Copp, Elmer Soderblom, James Van Riemsdyk, JD Compher. On their stick, I trust them to do something better with it than Michael McCarron will. But I noticed Michael McCarron a dozen times more than any of them last night. Like, it's a problem. Not because he's better than them, because he actually did things. He actually...
finding a way to be effective.
Yes, he gave a shit. It was obvious, and he was rattling the Red Wings. You could see it.
Poor JVR almost had to fight like 3 times last night.
He almost had to fight McCarron because I can't remember if it was Danielson or no, it might have been Gustafsson, whoever he grabbed and had in a headlock in the neutral zone. JVR's like, all right, I guess I'll do it.
JVR is a guy who's played on good hockey teams who knows what you're meant to do. And you can see, you're right, you can see on his face, like, I guess I will. Someone's got to do this. Like, he knows what you're meant to do.
Yeah.
And even like I like the points you guys made. Like, you might not be the best player on the ice, but if you put in the kind of effort that lets you make it in the NHL, you might not win every shift, but you sure won't lose every shift. And that's what it's about. At the end of the day, if you can just tread water, not every shift in a professional hockey game, especially at this point in the season, is going to be a highlight reel shift or a game-deciding shift. You just have to make sure it doesn't become one for the other team.
And why do you think coaches love those guys? Like, they know their stars are going to get their cookies and be their stars, but they love the sort of foxhole guys. They like, this guy doesn't have all the talent in the world to be a superstar, but he's finding a way to be effective and keep his spot in the NHL. No wonder coaches love those guys.
Like, I had a thought early in the third period where I'm like, if the Red Wings can come back and win this game, Ben Chiarot's the first star of the game. By a mile.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, which is a problem, but it's good for Ben Chiarot because
I'm biggest fan right now, by the way.
I loved when who was it, Ozzy Weisblatt, who was just like, don't even touch me, you're too small. And he put the hands up.
He gave him the little brother.
And he threw 4 or 5 huge hits. He was in every scrum.
Like, I'm full on keep Ben Chiarot this offseason.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
you cannot let him walk.
Yeah.
I don't want him on the first pair again next year.
Brad, don't put the cart before the horse.
If there's no other option,
because there won't be.
It's him. Well, we're going to have a conversation later, but
yeah,
he has to be on this team because he's one of the very few guys. I think him and JVR last night were the 2 guys I can watch that game and go, at least they cared.
Yeah.
And the bar is so low. Again, circling back, the Nashville Predators are an awful hockey team. Awful.
They were.
They were. Now they're going to just rip off 10 in a row.
And it's just dumb mistakes. Like, because here's the thing, and I know it's probably annoying to everybody listening how much we talk about the give a shit level here. But it's not just on the physical play. Okay? We know this is a soft team, and that's why we appreciate a guy like Ben Chiarot so much right now. But give a shit is also in the same conversation as focus. The Red Wings outshot Nashville that game. The Red Wings outshot them in the third period. It was stupid mistakes where I don't know if they lose focus. They're just stupid. Every Nashville goal in the third period was off a dumb mistake. Some of them, Danielson had a really bad turnover behind the net that led to Nashville's 5th goal. He's a rookie. You have to expect a few of those a year. The Hamonic turnovers, the Gustafsson turnovers, the guys who have been in this league, been around, done it before, some of the stuff they were doing was Johansson.
They were losing shifts. Yeah. That's what they were doing.
Johansson had a tough third.
Yes.
I love the guy, but he had a tough third period. So if you're engaged in the game, you make less mental mistakes. And the Red Wings made a lot of mental mistakes last night.
So just to quickly cover the game, the first goal of the game was from
the oldest rookie in the league.
That's right, Michael Bunting. Power play goal. Alex DeBrincat scores his 12th of the season on a power play. James Van Riemsdyk scores on the power play. It makes it 2-1. So even though the game through 2 periods wasn't a pretty one for Detroit, they were leading. Nashville starts the third.
I literally walked away for 4 minutes.
And all you need to walk away for was 15 seconds of gameplay. Because within 2 minutes and 20 seconds of the third period, they'd scored twice.
Yes.
At 2:05 and 2:20. Ben Chiarot, MVP of these Detroit Red Wings, gets one back to tie it. Great. The game is tied for so much of the third period. Ryan O'Reilly scores with, 5 minutes, 46 seconds left.
Who's contemplating quitting hockey again.
He was contemplating moving out to a shack in the middle of the woods and never seeing human life again with how he was talking about himself.
What's he, the Unabomber?
The guy has lower self-esteem than when Brad and Evan both make fun of my thinning hair. It is brutal what this guy thinks about. Well, there's no antidote like playing the Detroit Red Wings at the LCA. Yes. He scores. It was actually a very nice goal because there was 3 Red Wings at the net and he still managed to score. The problem was they were all on one side of the net and he was on the other side of the net.
Yeah, but if he was on the other side of the net, the Red Wings had him, Ryan.
Eric Hollis scores the 5th goal, like Brad said, on the Danielson just straight up pass behind the net to the other team, and it was the empty netter from Stamkos, and that made it 6-3. There was a lot of things that both of you said in there where if you're listening and you're like, that sounds right, but I wonder what Todd McLellan thinks. I'm going to link Max Bultman's article.
I feel bad for Todd McLellan. I know, continue on your thought, but I feel bad for Todd McLellan.
You're going to feel worse in a second. Some of the quotes, every time we get something and we grab onto it in terms of improving play and what they work on, we give something else back. It's not a sign of a good team. Good teams hold their lessons and build off of them.
This sounds exactly like my golf instructors. When you figure out your drive, all of a sudden you can't putt anymore. You're not a good golfer.
Max was writing about, all the different ways where Nashville scored on them, beat them. Those goals came in, quote, in every different fashion you could think of. That's what McLellan said. There's really no other element to the game where you can get beat. Penalty shot, maybe.
Oh my God.
He is so done with this.
He's past the anger stage.
That's just like, it is so unbelievable what just happened. You're like, I can't even be angry at this. I'm beyond even disappointed. Yeah.
Just disgusted.
Who was that? I want to say it was the coach of the Arizona Cardinals years ago, where he was talking about that player. He's like, cannot win with them, cannot play with them, cannot coach him, can't do it. That feels like Todd McLellan and 80% of this team right now. They got to go.
He knows.
He's requested a trade.
But not him. He's requested Steve Yzerman trade 80% of this roster.
And it's twofold, right? Like, he knows, and like, you hear about what happens internally. They know, like, a lot of these guys, they're just not it, right? That's what Evan said earlier. There's just still a lot of by NHL standards, guys who are not up to scuff on this hockey team. But he's also saying, fairly, okay, you are not all Cale Makars. You're not all, Simon Edvinssons. You're not all Ben Chiarots. You still have to be better in what you execute and how you play. And the thing that was less funny, but most kind of, I think, poignant, considering the conversation you two just had about the give a damn level of this team, he thought they looked too casual. Like, if Todd McLellan at this point in the season is still getting on the team for being too casual, like, these guys have a problem. It doesn't matter that they are playing at a pace of 2 goals and 5 assists over an 82-game season. He just wants them to care more, to go out there and skate harder, to go out there and execute a little bit better at the things that aren't, Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, Sidney Crosby level stuff, but the basic fundamentals of a hard-working hockey team, the guys in the foxhole, the guys that make sure that when your stars go out there, they have a game to try to save and it's not already 3, 4, 5 goals away. And that's like, you could see he is just completely spent in terms of the anger, and he's just like, all right, this is the definition of insanity. That's what I'm being paid to do right now. Just ram my head against the same wall over and over again with these guys because it's not sticking with them.
Well, if us idiots see it over and over again, and 90% of the fan base sees it over again, imagine with a guy of his hockey intellect who's on the bench watching it, what he sees.
It's a miracle he has hair.
The fact that he just like can stand there and be stoic on the outside. Like, if I was on the bench, I would be losing my shit.
You'd make Mike Babcock and John Tortorella look like Buddhist monks.
Yes. There would be things thrown everywhere.
At the fans.
What was it? The one play.
I'd be throwing them equipment to be like, get the f*** on the ice because these bums can't do it. Like, you look like your body mass index is decent. You can play left wing right now.
It's not us.
No. God, no.
There's just too many players on this. The first Nashville goal. Andrew Copp has a very easy opportunity to push that puck north. He, for whatever reason, decides to try a 5-foot back pass to someone who's covered. Leads to a Nate Danielson high sticking penalty. Nashville scores on the power play. Like, if I'm McLellan on a play like that just strikes me as either scared, lazy, or both. How do you coach that?
We need to be solution-oriented right now.
Someone get a scrum master in here, please.
Yeah, we need to be solution-oriented. We know that there's a lot of pedestrians. We know we have 4 point-per-game level type players, or, well, the defense equivalent to that. What do you do with the rest of the pedestrians?
Can I offer something else in here? And it's going to sound like making excuses. And I'm not trying to write off any excuses from Danielson or ASP or anyone else from last night. That's not it at all. But look at how the rookies played in the preseason at the start of the season when the team was flowing and they were playing well. And look how they're playing now. The rookies are playing scared. Emmett Finnie is... I mean, I actually really like a lot of what he's getting better with his chance creation. His finishing and his execution is still off, and that has to come. But you could see him gripping the stick. You can see ASP overthinking plays. When he lets his mind go, he moves the puck well, but then you also see him like completely whiff and then trip and then scramble. You see Nate Danielson make that terrible giveaway. Those guys are playing scared. They are, from the start of the season, what was the line that McLellan used? Riding the brakes.
Yeah, riding the brakes.
They are, because there's a support around them from the veterans on this team. It's not there. And this isn't an excuse for those guys to say they can do no wrong. I promise you that's not what I'm saying. But there are downstream effects even beyond, you go out there and you lose a shift. It's now the other guys who aren't NHL veterans who are trying to learn and grow in this game. They're out there and they're like, what the hell am I supposed to do? They're in their own heads about it. It's not a good environment for these guys to come up in.
It's a problem. You hear all the time, oh, this team's got to, it's a young team, so they got to bring in some veteran leadership. Well, that was what a lot of these guys were supposed to be. I think a couple of those veterans they brought in to be that guy look like they're working out a bit. I like what Ben Chiarot's bringing. I think JVR might be one of those guys, might not be super effective anymore, but you can see he at least does the right things within his skill set. That might be the end of the list.
Can I say something very controversial? Performance aside, which is a rich statement, I think JT Compher's effort has much improved.
Oh, over the last week, you mean? Because it hasn't been this season.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Give it a couple weeks.
Hey, you got to give credit where credit is due. Yes, he has turned it around. It only took a couple years, but
hey, year one was good.
We're here, and it's just, we've watched bad hockey teams. You can always get through a game if you're A, entertained, or B, the team's a lovable band of tryhards. Well, this A has happened sometimes, B ain't happening.
Well,
takes a lot for Red Wings fans who just received their gravy votes to boo the Red Wings off the ice.
Oh, yeah.
Feels like this team gets booed off the ice repeatedly. It seems like every other home game, they're getting booed off the ice. That is a bad sign. And I can't believe, I don't know how, those guys have immense pride, from Steve Yzerman all the way down to Eric Gustafsson or Travis Hamonic, however you want the totem pole to work. How is that not soul crushing a little bit, right? That's so embarrassing that your home fans are booing you 50% of the time you walk off the ice.
Because it's a full circle. Yeah, it's probably disheartening, but you give that effort because you don't give a shit. So then you get booed off the ice, but it doesn't bother you because you don't give a shit. Lather, rinse, repeat.
We need another West Coast road trip bad.
Please, my sleep. All right. The Red Wings upcoming. Nothing to heal what ails you.
The Red Wings play to their competition, so we're about to see the performance of a lifetime.
A Friday matinee against the Tampa Bay Lightning at home, followed up by the Boston Bruins the next night in Boston on the road. Is back-to-back. I'm not even going to say the Red Wings are doomed. Their performances game to game don't make sense, so
flip the coin, spin the wheel,
roll the 20-side die.
Here comes a 4-3 win against Tampa, followed by a 5-2 loss to the Bruins.
I swear to God, if that's exactly the scoreline, the next episode is starting with you sitting in that chair and Evan and I pummeling you like it's a gang initiation.
I would take that. I would take
win over Tampa? Yeah. All right, fine.
I think all three of us would welcome that situation.
Yeah.
Brad would like the release. He'd feel something. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we're back, more. Let's be honest. Bad coffee should be worthy of a major penalty in a game misconduct. If you're still drinking burnt, stale stuff out of a giant plastic tub, I'm telling you it's time to upgrade. Coffee Cult? That's the real deal. They roast only the best of the best specialty-grade Arabica beans in the world. We are talking elite-level coffee. Every batch is roasted fresh after you order, so what shows up at your door hasn't been sitting around for weeks. Right now, the star of their show is the Holiday Blend, and it is unreal. It's a dark roast, 100% Arabica, using beans from Ethiopia and Guatemala. You get deep notes of baker's chocolate and brown sugar. It's warm, rich, and it's festive without being gimmicky. Whether you're gifting it or drinking it during a quiet morning by the tree, it just fits. Use code WWP at KOFFEEKULT.com to get 15% off, and for the rest of the month, if your order is $50 or more, they'll throw in a free Black Coffee Cult mug. Also, free US shipping on orders of $49 or more. If you need a gift, go grab the Coffee Cult loot box. You get a branded mug and a 12-ounce bag of mystery coffee, all boxed up and ready to go. It's a steal. It's fun. You get to try new coffee, and it's not another pair of socks. That's coffeecults.com, code WWP. Go get the good stuff. Welcome back. There was a conversation last night where one of our long-standing Patreon supporters, they turned to me, they said something like, this team just has to decide, are they going for McKenna or not? Because they need to just go out there and run the worst players every shift kind of thing. And it was in jest, to put it out there. It was in jest. But I was like, this team is too good. I used to think that this team had too many good players.
They're too far gone.
To go that far down, but genuinely now they are too good. You see, even on bad nights, their offense should be able to put up a few goals. They have really good offensive players up top, and they have at least 2, sometimes 3 decent defensemen on any given night, where they're not going to be the Nashville Predators in the standings.
I wish we could have been.
I mean, hey, they did their best last night. And so I now more than ever believe that the angle, based on the path that you are on, is to sell out, to add high-end talent now. Go for a silver bullet so big and so silver and so bullety, it is a comical move. Like we talked about last episode with Max, Quinn Hughes. Because you are not going to go out there and do, because if you want to fully tank and fully restart the rebuild, you know what you would have to do? Trade anyone who's older than Seider and can get a return. Genuinely. And that means Larkin, and that means DeBrincat, and that means Kane, and that means Chiarot, and that means everyone. And that is, can you just imagine?
It's not possible.
No, you just shuddered thinking of that. They're obviously not going to do that. And so I'm looking at this now, and I'm thinking of McLellan's comments, and pretty much he's working with what he can. I'm not saying the only moves are to add, that massive Quinn Hughes level silver bullet. You have to try to add marginally if you can as well, just adding solid depth who can go out there and not lose shifts. That will help McLellan as well. But to really turn this team around, you need a couple of those. But in all reality, you need something big. You need a guy who's going to come in and be like, is he our best player now? Is he better than Larkin? Is he better than Raymond? Is he better than Seider?
They need that and a lot more. This, again...
But if they get that, Brad, it gets them to the level of a team where they still have holes, but they are in a playoff position.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And top 4D, top 6 winger, until they figure that out, this team's not a serious contender. We've been talking about that for years. They've got this glaring hole in the top 6. And they're going to have another one whenever Patrick Kane decides to hang him up. And they have a glaring hole on defense. Again, we love Ben Chiarot, but if Ben Chirot's on your top pair, you're not winning a Stanley Cup. Full stop.
Sounds like we're fighting, but...
Okay.
No, you're right. Yeah. Okay.
So if this offseason or this season, the opportunity presents itself to trade for a Quinn Hughes, you do not have the luxury to not overpay. If Jordan Kyrou hits the market, you do not have the luxury to not overpay. And if you end up giving up 2 first-round picks and 4 premium prospects to hypothetically get both of them, you do it. I don't know what the exact price on guys like this is going to be. It doesn't matter. I was surprised how many takes I saw online saying, oh, you can't include ASP in a trade for Quinn Hughes. Oh, you can't include Nate Danielson in a trade. Send both of them for all I care. It's a Norris caliber defenseman in his prime when you have an elite core 4 performing like an elite core 4. What are we talking about here? The question of should the Red Wings trade for Quinn Hughes? Yeah. 31 teams should be picking up the phone right now and offering whatever the hell they can.
Well, we're just going to wait till Connor McDavid is a free agent.
You should do that too. It's not an and or, and I've seen a lot of and ors online as well with it. Oh, but if you trade all this for Quinn Hughes, what do you have left if Robertson or Kyrou comes available? A lot, and you trade that too. You do not have the luxury to say no.
The Dallas Stars and the beatdown they put on Edmonton was only rivaled by what the Grand Rapids Griffins put on the Texas Stars. They beat them 10-1. But yeah, Connor McDavid, I'm looking at a lot of these results. I'm like, does Connor McDavid regret his 2-year extension? But going back to what you said, Brad, here's the thing. Like, okay, let's bring this down from the emotional, free-flowing, like off the cuff episode.
No.
If Edvinsson's back, you know, maybe you get at least 1 point of these last 4, if not 2 or whatever. And this team with Edvinsson back, you've seen them where they can execute some games like where you're like they play reasonably well, and in a really weird transitional year, this could be as high as a divisional seed. They were leading the division a few days ago. So I'm not saying all that's gone and you'll never see that again this season. When Edvinsson's back, you probably will see that solid play again here and there this season. But grand scheme of things, yeah, like I think certainly there's a lot to work on in this team and their culture and their mindset and the way they approach games and how they execute and how they think about the game as the flow is against them and the going gets tough. They have so much work to do there where I'm like, you are so far removed from the teams who just get it done and understand how you have to play. But also, like what Evan said, there's still just a lot of bad hockey players relative to what you need to be a competitive NHL team. So yeah, if you have an opportunity to bring in a superstar level player like that, I don't like the idea of giving up those assets. The Red Wings never won the lottery. The Red Wings never got the opportunity to bring in a Celebrini, to bring in a Bedard, to bring in a Dahlin, to bring in a Matthew Schaefer. They made the most of their first round picks. And even the ones where you're like, oh, you know, let's say this year you want to do the Kasper versus Nazer thing. Great. That wasn't even like, you still got an NHL player at the very worst. And don't make conclusions on that one too soon because, you know, last year that conversation would have been flipped. Like they made the most of their first round picks so far. But they never got to draft high enough to get the Demidovs or any of those guys. So you have to use your wealth of really good assets, both prospects and picks, and do it yourself because it's not going to come in free agency. I promise you that much. Since we started talking, 5 more pending free agents got signed. Like that's not the way the NHL works right now in this era. You have to go out and you have to make big moves like that if you want to add that kind of talent, which we all think the Red Wings need.
That's what you would hope the whole stockpiling of assets and bringing in these middling veterans is for. Like you're preparing for launch. Like you are waiting until someone like Quinn Hughes becomes available, like Jordan Kyrou becomes available, Jason Robertson becomes available. So when they do, you are in a position that you have these assets and you've got your lunch pail foxhole guys that you inject a superstar and it's like, all right, we're a contender now.
Yeah. You know how much easier those...
Which I think if the Red Wings do add a superstar, they're still very far away, but you got to start somewhere, right?
Totally. And it's so much easier, though, when you're a way better team to fill those gaps. I promise you. You want to know why it becomes easier to trade your first-round picks?
Because they're way worse.
Because they're worse, and that value add for like a deadline deal, for example, and then you sign the guy after, that becomes a lot more viable. The Red Wings weren't doing that at previous deadlines. Their pick was like 12th at worst. It becomes way easier to add players who want to come and trade for free agency. Why? Because your team is good. Yeah, I want to go play with Quinn Hughes. Yeah, I want to go play with Dylan Larkin. Yeah, I want to go play with Lucas Raymond. Yeah, I want to go play with Simon Edvinsson. Like Patrick Kane. It becomes, it's the snowball effect. It's not just of success. It's about the actual talent level of the team. And also, as we always mention, the core of this team, the team, like the 4, 5, 6 guys that Brad said earlier are the ones who are carrying this team. Barring Patrick Kane, they're all at a really good age, but they won't be forever. Every year, a year goes by, you know, like that hasn't changed as long as I've been paying attention. So you have Dylan Larkin at a really good age right now. Eventually, he's going to start to decline. Not to the point where, I'm not saying he's going to be useless at 32, but he's going to be less useful at 32 than he is at 29, 28, 27. You know, like you want to move on this, you have to make the most of the immense talent that he's bringing you right now.
The best teams make the hardest decisions when it comes to their players and their assets, right? Like, let's look at some of the best teams in the league. Let's look at Avalanche. This backfired completely on them at one point last year, but they traded Mikko Rantanen, and then he pulled down their pants and spanked them. But
he's taken up a life of murder.
Yeah, but now we'll look at that. That team is a wagon this year. Is it sustainable? Who the hell knows? But they are on fire. Let's talk about Carolina. They go and try and poach, maybe not the true superstars from everybody, but they are looking at some of the best players all the time, trying to add. Everybody hates Vegas. Well, they go out and get the Jack Eichel. Why are they in on every single superstar? It's because that is how you win.
They gave up Peyton Krebs and they turned it into a guy who probably was a coin flip away from being the Conn Smythe winner.
I think maybe a good example here is Anaheim. They bring in Cutter Gauthier for Jamie Drysdale. He's was potentially one of the best defensemen on that team. They knew they had a surplus there and they could bring in some veteran guys to insulate them with like Gudis and what turned into Trouba. But, that's a tough trade to make. Like you're trading one of your first round picks of prospects or I guess NHL player at this point to bring in someone to make your team better. Like the Red Wings can't slow burn this forever.
It's right on both ends of the spectrum. Like you both said, this team has more gaps than just the superstar thing. Like that's the easy conversation to have because Quinn Hughes, there's also the context for Quinn Hughes that we always mention. Like the Red Wings passed over him. And for those who don't know the lore there, they took Zadina because Zadina fell in the draft and we all loved it at the time. Everyone thought it was a steal. If it wasn't Zadina, it wasn't going to be Hughes. It was going to be Bouchard. And if it wasn't Bouchard, it was going to be Dobson. Hughes was not going to be drafted. He said like the Red Wings weren't going to draft him. Holland and Wright weren't going to draft Quinn Hughes. But that is the biggest miss in Red Wings modern drafting history. Maybe Red Wings drafting history, considering the implications of it and how long they've been out of the playoffs. Like that ties him inherently here. He has ties to the state of Michigan. Yes, his brothers play in New Jersey. We'll see when push comes to shove, but I've seen it, speculated that he's going to go to New Jersey or nowhere else. But I have also been told, don't necessarily bank on that. He might just be okay with being in the Eastern time zone and closer to family. It might not be. We'll see when decisions have to be made, barring Vancouver figuring it out for the first time in like 20 years, what he actually wants to do. But that's the Quinn Hughes being tied to the Red Wings thing. But going back to what you said at the top, Brad, they do have to do other things. They have to find a way to make their bottom six less frustrating. They have to find a way to add more competent defensemen and players where, okay, Simon Edvinsson goes out and it doesn't mean you have to have a pair composed of two below replacement level NHL defensemen who are going to cost you goals game in and game out.
That's the part that gets frustrating is it does equate to points in the standings. The number one pushback when we had that episode in August where we were just torching the Hamonic signing. Well, it's only 1 year for no money. Like it's not going to affect anything and you can just waive him if it doesn't go well. He's cost you at the very least 4 standings points this year in 2 games where he was so bad that he cost you. These decisions matter. And if you don't acquire better players, it's the same cycle. And I'm going to obviously ignore the top end of this, but do you know who's an analytics darling this year having a great year? Matt Grzelcyk. He was still available when they signed Hamonic. Different type of player, I get it, but type of player almost doesn't matter at this point. Stop acquiring bad players, replace them with good players. Obvious statement, I know, but it's been a problem.
Write that down. Write that down.
Yeah, but it's been a problem. It's been a consistent problem. And yeah, I get it. Free agent market now, it's only getting worse. So solutions have to come elsewhere. And all
the guys want to have to come. Like you don't know if they tried to sign Rosovic and Grzelcyk and they just didn't want to come, but eventually like the guys have to come.
Overpay for good players.
Happy Thanksgiving, folks. We're gonna wrap that one up there.
Yeah.
That's staying in, by the way. Okay. Enjoy, everyone. It's always me.
It is always you.
Yeah. But no, like you're right, Brad. Like you can see the frustration. Like you can only, I'm sorry to use the most played out, phrase here. You can only shuffle the deck chairs around on the Titanic so many ways. And it's worsened. Like there's going to be very, very, very fair messages that I'm going to get. And I know I'm going to get them that say, that's a big reaction for games where Simon Edvinsson was missing and this team is obviously like fighting some kind of flu bug. And that's fair. But we talked before the season started. This team has really good talent, but they are fragile in that one injury or one gap beyond what they already carry game in and game out is going to be devastating. Is going to be a disproportionate effect. Other teams, their second line center is not playing well or moved off the roster for one reason or other, like sick or injured or whatever. They bring in another guy who's definitely not a second line center, but can come in and do a decent job in the interim. Think JT Compher when he was on the Colorado Avalanche. Like, it was fine kind of thing. But the Red Wings don't have that. The drop-off is precipitous. It's like, I don't know why this comes to mind, but have you guys ever been on a lake and it's a meteoric lake? It came from like an actual crater from a meteor. And you walk out 10 feet onto the dock and you go from being able to see the depth like a foot below and then all of a sudden drops like 20 feet.
Yeah. That's
the talent drop off. It goes off a cliff for the Red Wings. And so one injury, you can't replace a Simon Edvinsson with a Simon Edvinsson. Teams don't have that on their third pair, but it shouldn't have to be that you're playing multiple below replacement level players. You're handcuffing your coach, you're handcuffing your team, you're handcuffing your rookies, you're handcuffing your goalies, you're handcuffing your best players. It makes everything worse.
We thought the Red Wings season ended twice last night when DeBrincat went off when it looked like he hurt his shoulder, and then when Larkin went off when it looked like he hurt his back. We're like, well, that's it. Pack it in. We're done here.
Yeah. We advocate for playing a more physical and nasty game, and that's probably stupid because if anything happens to Lucas Raymond, my God, I'm going to go just drive and camp outside Gavin McKenna's house. We'll start covering Penn State games for the rest of the year. Screaming into the void. Like, that's a lot of what this episode is. Like, we're just yelling into the void. Get good players. Very simple. Like, a very revolutionary concept. Way to go, us. But at the same time, like, you can see, I'm not saying that's what McLellan is saying. Like, it's a message. But it's like, because I do believe he's saying, like, yeah, these guys who are here, they still have to execute better. But you can see it. Like, he's not working with the most here. And if he practically said, like, this isn't a serious team, this isn't a sign of a good team, you have to find ways to add, and you can't choose the other direction anymore. This coming from the podcast that advocated for rebuild and sell for most of our existence, our almost 11-year existence. You are too far down the path of being good now, and I'm not saying that tongue-in-cheek. You have too many good players, and they're not at the right age where you can reset this rebuild around them. You have to go. You have to make moves.
I think the troubling part of this for me is anybody can identify a superstar, but the Red Wings have a terrible time identifying the foxhole type guys.
Yeah.
They thought Steve Yzerman is on record of saying that he liked Travis Hamonic's game last year. And if you went into the Senators subreddit after Detroit signed them, they were about to plan a parade down Woodward.
I don't think he believed that. I think that was because that signing was in August.
Then why say it?
Because, you can't torch the guy. The signing was in August for so little money, and it was 1 year. I honestly think he was trying for other things, and that was like, we need a body because we don't want to run Hall and Gustafsson.
But he didn't. Hall and Gustafsson are equally as bad.
But I'm not making an excuse. It was like, he's not a good player. But I think it was, I just need to try something else. And if that's bad too, then we'll deal with it when we come to it. And that's what we're doing.
And I guess the counter argument to my point is JVR and Appleton have been mostly fine.
Yeah.
Like, I actually don't mind either of them. Appleton has his moments where he disappears, but that's kind of what you get with a guy in that part of your depth chart. But those guys have not been, I would say, the problem for this team.
No, if you put those two up with, I don't know, call it any random plug that you can find in free agency who's a decent center, that's a really good fourth line. And they're getting paid like to be a really good fourth line. The problem is they have to play more than fourth line minutes frequently. And then their second line and third line is nowhere near good enough. And we've talked about this at length before, but yeah, they identified a couple good players to play a role. Now it's the other four that are a problem in the bottom six. And if you get two more JVRs and Appletons this offseason, now you're only dealing with two problems in the bottom six. And then you cycle them out, right? It's always about upgrades. You don't need to turn Andrew Copp into Jason Robertson. If you turn Andrew Copp into, I don't know, Eetu Luosterainen, not a significantly better player, but a much more effective player for probably less money, upgrade. right? Like, and it's just, you got to keep making shrewd moves like that over and over again. Turning Justin Hall, or his roster spot, into Travis Hamonic is at best a wash. That is not a recipe for success. And it's been the theme. We all know Yzerman's strengths as a GM. We all know his weaknesses. But this weakness, it's been too long for this to keep happening. What was it, the stat that was floating around last night? The Red Wings record with Hamonic in the lineup is 7-8. And without him, it was 6-1-1.
I'm not even going to fact check that. That just feels right.
JBD's just out there flexing and warm up, and everyone's like, Christ, look at those arms.
He's huge.
He's huge.
Hey, the mustache alone was worth at least a couple games to get a look, but
yeah. We should have gotten the Siegenthaler Hamonic fight just for the stash versus stash showdown.
Good.
Looked like two firemen fighting.
Good advertisement for November.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, we need a themed fight every year. We had Forsberg and Seider's hair battle. Now we...
Yeah. All right. That's enough venting. Let's take another quick break, and when we're back, the final segment on this episode of the Wing Wheel Podcast, back after this.
We're going to overtime.
Overtime is brought to you by our Patreon supporters, patreon.com/wingedwheelpodcast if you want to support the show. Again, the bonus episodes, the Discord, the giveaways. I'm going to put in a couple of fun bloopers for the bonus episode on this one. Whenever there's good outtakes, I always lead off the bonus episodes. All that and lots more, and it allows us to do everything we do. So again, patreon.com/wingedwheelpodcast. Let's take some questions and comments from our patrons. Jack's Dads starts with a quote, says, he doesn't know whether to go to the bathroom or wind his watch. That's from Mickey Redmond. This Mickeyism applies to the whole team last night. So many missed shots, too many chances, missed trying to get cute. These guys need a shipment of your Play Effin' Hockey shirts. Let's put the entire team on LTIR and bring up the whole Grand Rapids squad emergency call-up. Grand Rapids right now, man, like that's a tale of two tapes. 10-1 against Texas. Record start to the season. At least the vibes there are good. They deserve that.
I'm excited for our Grand Rapid event.
Yeah. Wing Wheel Podcast tonight with the Grand Rapids Griffins. Get your tickets, griffinshockey.com/WWP. Eric Asmus says, I saw Radko Gudas' name pop up on a trade bait board. Is there any place for him on the Wings blue line? We could use some attitude on this team.
There's no way they trade Radko Gudas.
Isn't he their captain and they're in a playoff spot?
I saw his name show up on the trade board, and I wonder how much of it is just like his role is lessening. I wanted Radko Gudas before, not because I think he was going to be a great defenseman, but just because I thought he added some, snarl and edge and some veteran experience in this team, which I know that's kind of a bad word. Depends on what they want. If it's going to be like what the people make Colorado and Toronto pay at the trade deadline, then no, that's not what you spend your premium assets on. But if you can add him for whatever reason on the cheap, sure. That's not the Anaheim defenseman I'm trying to trade for, though. I want Minchikov if you're trading with Verbeek. Like, let's get a guy who can maybe be something else. Finnie the Pooh. Oh, I love this question. How much of an upgrade would defensive Pettersson be, and what would it take? Marcus Pettersson, how much of an upgrade would he be?
So he would be playing where on this team right now? Third pair?
No.
Who's he replacing? Edvinsson or Chiarot?
Chiarot. You move Chiarot down to the third pair.
I'm not convinced Marcus Pettersson's an obvious upgrade from Chiarot.
Okay, so doesn't matter.
No,
he's your bottom four. Great.
Yeah, he's good, and you should want him. And he would probably play on the bottom pair as this roster is constructed right now, with probably just move Johansson to the right side, and that would go a long way to shoring up this defense.
I appreciate your Ben Chiarot advocacy. Thank you for that. But what a great problem to have. Oh, this second and third pair guy could both play second pair. That's what we need to be doing on this team.
It's like the conversation where it's like, yeah, he's good, but he would play -1 position on a Stanley Cup team or a true Cup contender. I think if you've got Marcus Pettersson or Ben Chiarot playing third pair, I can get around to that.
Yeah, but he's not the Canucks defenseman I'm trading for. It's just
again, not the defenseman I'm trading for.
Why not both? Why not both?
Why not just you close your eyes and pick a Pettersson? That's what Evan.
No, thank you. I'm good.
Hey, he's having a good offensive season, Evan.
I'm good.
You're not adding Pettersson salary retained.
I want a softer Detroit Red Wings, please. You know what? I want my vanilla ice cream to be fully liquefied.
Who would you rather have, Connor Garland or Elias Pettersson, the forward?
What kind of stupid question is that?
The answer is neither.
No. You have to pick one.
You know what? I got to stay true to my brand. I'm taking Connor Garland.
We call him feistier Brad Crisco for his size. Is he shorter than you?
Yes.
I like that you knew that right away.
There's not many
We know all
league,
the short kings
yeah.
who we would. Yeah. Oh, man.
Also, he has an extension that hasn't even kicked in yet.
Very cool. Very cool. Thanks. Does the Olympic break have the potential to affect how much Talbot fades at the end of the season? Do you think a 3-week break makes a meaningful difference there? Yeah, genuinely do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like a lot of times this season where you're like, why are they going back to Gibson? He just had a terrible game. I think they don't want to burn out Talbot early. So yeah, that break will help quite a few players who need that kind of thing, especially in net. So you have Larkin and Raymond and Seider and all those your best players going. For sure, that sucks in terms of attrition, but helps Talbot. Although, again, Team Canada goalies. You never know. Schmelt says, would you ever consider a trade for Steven Stamkos?
No.
God, no.
I consider it, yeah.
I mean, sure, I'd consider it.
Did you watch him last night?
Scored an empty netter.
He is a true Red Wing.
If it's, you know what?
50% retained with like no assets given up, sure.
That's what I had in mind. That's
but
all it is.
They are not going to do that. They're asking a first and a premium prospect for the ghost of Ryan O'Reilly. Like, it's not going to happen.
They were asking first and an A-level prospect for a guy who was the before guy on a...
Ryan O'Reilly would be the second-line center on this team.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a statement about the Red Wings, not Ryan O'Reilly.
Yes, but he just went out. He very recently went after having a terrible game and said, I can't do anything right. I'm so stupid. I'm so ugly. I suck. And I'm
had
just like,
one good year.
Like, he's a great hockey player, but oh my God, how are you going to set that as the asking price for a guy who just said, I don't like hockey? Like,
have we also considered that Barry Trotz is a bad GM?
That's all we've considered. I've never seen a wider disparity between a head coach and a GM's prowess.
But if this team, you could transport them to 2019 and reverse their ages to age correct them.
Oh my God.
This would be a wagon.
This would be like dream team. Do you remember when Colorado put together that dream team with like Korea and Solani and everything and nothing happened with it? It'd be like that. That's kind of what they did, but just like aged forward a little bit. All right. Next one here. Finnie's hot and I'm ready says, in honor of Thanksgiving and utter ignorance to the fact that we lost to the worst team in the league on Thanksgiving Eve, what are the top 3 things about this Red Wings season you're grateful for? First off, bigger picture, remove the emotional reaction to 1 or 2 games. Their best players are having great seasons. Seider, Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat.
That's 4 things, cheater.
No, it is all in one. The rookies making the team. I'm very thankful for that because you can at least say, like, there's progress happening. And they got a lot of wins to start the season. So at least there's some happiness banked in there.
I'm thankful for the brisket and pulled pork nachos last night.
Yep.
If we're allowed to count Detroit's new core 4, I'll go with that. And I'll say I'm thankful for Cam Talbot preventing this season from being a dumpster fire and at least making it interesting to this point.
Yeah, you stole mine about the rookies making the team. I think the other one I'm thankful for is Todd McLellan. He's basically, without singling people out, he's singling people out. And that is a welcome change from the, losing 10-0 and talking about moral victories that we've heard in the past.
I think we had a really good third period.
Like, oh, we only gave up 2 goals that period. Sweet.
Camera pans to the scoreboard.
And I'm thankful for the Grand Rapids Griffins because when the Red Wings have a stinker, you could just go over to their Twitter feed and feel good about yourself.
Someone I'm thankful for. Zach Freeland, our next comment, says, during tonight's game, Ken shouted me and Kyle Culps out while referencing the interview we did with you guys about the jersey design. Zach and Kyle joined us in the live episode from Little Caesars Arena at Wingview Podcast and at the LCA designers, to the designers from the Red Wings Centennial jersey and that entire brand we've been seeing this season. That was an incredible moment for me as a designer and a lifelong fan, and I owe it to you guys for taking the time to talk about the design and for having some great questions. Kyle and Zach, both of you, thank you for jumping on the show. That was one of the coolest interviews. And as Red Wings fans, like we said on the live show, we are grateful for these jerseys that we're surrounded by. Like, At least, even games last night, at least they look good.
Yep.
And fun fact, Zach says, my wife and I got married the day that live episode came out. You buried the lead when we saw you. You never mentioned that. Congratulations, Zach. And I'm sorry, I don't know your wife's name, so congratulations to the Freelands. This episode is dedicated to you. I'm sorry, that's a terrible episode.
Yeah,
it's dedicated to you, but that's
just
really
tell
exciting.
the guy you hate him, all right?
Yeah, congratulations. That is incredible news, man. And man, the best feeling at your wedding is everything from the moment you say I do onwards, because all of the responsibilities just like wash away from you.
Wouldn't know. There was only me and Catherine there.
And a gaggle of Italians who are looking at you, who are probably like, who are these tourists?
They had entertainment at their lunch.
Yeah, but congratulations, Zach. That is incredible, man. And thank you again. Can't wait to chat with you once again. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast. We're sorry and thank you. I guess. Thank you to the sponsors of the Winged Wheel Podcast and to all of our Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/Winged Wheel Podcast if you want to help us out. And if you want to go above and beyond, but Patreon's not for you, just subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is. Subscribe, leave a rating, a review, the hearts, a thumbs up, tell a friend about the show. Those are all things that help us a ton. To our name level supporters on Patreon, we cannot thank you enough. Arjun Shankar, Aikfer, Martin Norberg, THL Champ, Samuel Soderholm, Icon, Glenn Brabham, Rain Dano, Below Average Ball Hockey Goalie, Matthew M. Rice, Darb EQ, Sea Lion, Bingo Bango, Hassam Al-Qassem, Asher Killian, Kaylin Wood, Alex Toger, That's What I Appreciates About You, Derek Enstam, Matt McKay, Andy Hardcore, Sam Bankson, Citizen High Five, RA, Aaron Hudson, Admiral Matt S. at the Cheesebag Navy, The El Cato, Stephen Ortlieb, Jonathan Miller, Give Blood, Fight Probert, DJ Denton, Carl Britannia-Naluski, Jay Gollum, John Ingalls, CB55, Connor Scovey, Adam Zuiza, Adam Rose, I Miss Pew Suter, Steve R., Hockeytown Matt, Mr. Kuzi, Chaotic Monkey, Craig Kibble, Eiserplan Stan, Now I Have to Learn How to Click on a Macintosh, Podgy713, Clip Clop Nene, Griffin Not from Grand Rapids, Marty, Cozy, the OG13, Jeff Pridemore, Eric Hill, Butts Carlton, Best James Bond, Beer League Legend, Alec, Mark Hernandez, Slim Smitty Cards, Grand Rapids Girly, Anna Sleeman, William, Kip Tira Jr., Mike Asher, Chris Black, August, Brian Munn, Improved But Flawed, Chris 99 Jones, Putting on the Moritz, Trevor Centerfit, General Andy Bohan, the Cheesebag Army, Quaz, Lonnie Zone, Dylan Larkin Trade Sacrifice, Tarps Off at the Thanksgiving Dinner Table, Matt Keeler, Linda Hall, Connor Leighton, As Good As It Gobbles, Jeremiah Dobo, Josh Yelchin, Brad Simmons, Darren Fick, Bex, The Hodag, Pastor Jake, more like Master Jake, Commander Band Baron of the Cheesebag Space Force, Sandy-Pellikka's Pet Pelican, Griffey Boy, JM Rhapsody, your second favorite patron, Frank Stanley, Rosie Posey, that other guy, the Hat 123, Pucking Puck, Carl Thames, Nerno, Steven, A. Ron, Corey Prida, All Motor No Hands, Gene Sullivan, Roy Mudbutt, Big Cheese, James Pridemore, Upernadian, Drop the Puck, Eric Nance, Ann Stanislavski, Jim, Bellingham Massive Balls, our good friend Wings fan in St. Louis, Scott, Johnny Page, Lucas Raymond, Cops, Gump Lip, Trent Thorough, Grepsky, Evan Beckner, Return of Jambo, C.E. Hayes, Finnie to the Rafters, Jacob Marsh, Falkness, Fight Night at the Joe, Axels, Sandy Pelican, the Octopi's Ninth Leg, Bubble Hockey Extraordinaire, Finnie the Pooh. Thank you all so very much. We will talk to you on Sunday.
Thanks for tuning in to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Be sure to visit wingedwheelpodcast.com, where you'll find links to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll also find ways to support the show, like Patreon, official podcast merchandise, and more. And don't forget to follow us on X at Winged Wheel Pod, at Ryan Hanna, WWP, at Brad Crisco, and at Hockeytown Evan, as well as Winged Wheel Podcast on Instagram.
This message is brought to you by Greenlight Lending. Are you facing financial red lights on your home ownership journey? Don't have money for a down payment or closing costs? Struggling with your current mortgage payment or other debt obligations? Or maybe you have a complicated situation like credit challenges or self-employment income? At Greenlight Lending, they turn those red lights green with creative mortgage solutions for purchase and refinance loans. Their team crafts personalized plans with flexible closing cost options, competitive brokered rates, and innovative loan programs tailored to your needs. Whether it's finding the right loan or guiding you through the process, they're here to help you score your home ownership goals. Let's get you out of the penalty box and into the game. Head to gogreenlightlending.com to explore solutions or call Nick directly at 586-321-1888 for your customized plan. All loans are subject to credit approval, terms, and conditions. Rates and programs vary. Contact for details. Greenlight Lending, lighting the way to your financial future. NMLS 2676683, an equal housing opportunity lender, proud sponsor of the Winged Wheel podcast.